Welcome to the KW NextGen podcast. I'm your host, Kaitlyn Pennington, and part of the NextGen team. We will hear stories from young adults who are living big lives and attaining really big goals. KW NextGen is a 501c3 nonprofit that was founded by Gary Keller of Keller Williams. Our mission is to empower and equip the next generation of leaders and entrepreneurs with the tools needed to remove limiting beliefs, take action, and live a big life. KW NextGen is founded on the models and systems of Quantum Leap, the material that Gary Keller has been teaching for years. It helps people understand how to build big businesses, to live really fulfilling lives, to understand financial literacy, and remove all of those blockages. So join us as we talk with our young adults who are implementing these practices and really accomplishing their big dreams at a young age. We'll also have a chance to talk with our instructors, our board members, and our coaches who are feeding into the next generation and making a really big impact on their community and our world at large. So let's jump right in. Hello, Kennedy. How is your day going?
My day is going good. How's your day, Kaitlyn?
So good. This is the highlight of my week, getting to chat with someone like yourself. So my day is going great.
I'm so excited and so honored to be here, and I cannot wait to dive into all the things.
Yay. Well, let's start from the beginning. What is your name and how old are you and where are you from?
My name is Kennedy Young. I am 25 years old. I am from a really small town in Virginia, Southwest Virginia, called Franklin County, Virginia, but I relocated to Southwest Florida. I now live in Sarasota, Florida. I moved here actually 2 years ago today, which is crazy.
Well, congratulations on your 2-year anniversary.
Thank
You
you.
have been busy in 2 years, my dear.
Very busy and so many exciting things, and so blessed for that to be a problem, to have all these things going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And in those 2 years, we're going to go off script a little bit here, but in those 2 years, has there been anything exciting that has made your new home feel like home?
There have been so many exciting things. I actually just closed on my first home 2 months ago now. It was at the very end of August, and I moved in the first week of October. So I am so excited, so surreal, but also the biggest now like tangible thing of like I accomplished this, because paying off debts, that's something I did at the beginning of the year. That was a very big focus for me, is paying off all debts and becoming debt free, and then getting out of that apartment, paying rent, and now owning a home. So it has been so exciting to actually have something. I kid you not, I go home every night and I sit down on my couch and I am almost like in tears at just how grateful and blessed and exciting this is to have accomplished.
Wow, what a huge accomplishment. And you should be so proud of yourself. And that's so great to hear that you're being able to really soak it in and enjoy it. And I mean, wow, we're diving right in. But
Yeah.
the fact that you did it, I dare say, the right way, of paying off your debt first and getting to a financial place first that then you could buy a home. And I know that is not attainable for all people out there, especially at your,
Yeah,
but also you are living proof that it is possible.
it is.
So what a great example to set for those in your age range of like not taking the fact that you're only 25 as a roadblock of saying, well, like many people in their 20s just take it as the norm of like, I'm going to be in debt and I can't buy a home, period, kind of thing. And you have proved that wrong. So bravo.
Absolutely. Yep. I mean, anything hard in life that's worth it is your mindset, right? And that was the biggest thing about paying off the debt, is saying no to certain vacations. There have been so many trips. My friends are actually in Peru right now, and you have to say no to certain things when you're chasing a vision, you're chasing a future. And if you're chasing the dream of becoming debt free, you have to be okay with saying no and not the keeping up with the Joneses. So it's so much deeper than that as well. Yes, it's a amazing accomplishment, but it's also really looking here, to be able to make those decisions and say no and to put money where it should go, instead of like, I want to go shopping this weekend, I want to go buy new clothes. And we can't do that. We have to learn how to say no to ourselves.
That's so amazing. And just defining that for yourself too. If you had decided that buying a home was your priority, you went after it and you said no to the things that didn't align with that. In the same way that some people at all ages, but especially in their 20s, might have something different as a priority, and they
Exactly.
would say no to maybe taking out a mortgage, and so it really depends on what the person individually prioritizes, and then not letting someone else make that decision for you, but deciding like, this is my priority, this is my why, and I'm going to say no to anything that doesn't align with that. So
Exactly. Yep.
love that. So exciting. I'm glad that you brought that up. I hadn't had a chance to personally, in person, congratulate you. And I'm just so proud of you and so
Thank
excited.
you. I appreciate that so much. It's been, again, so surreal, but I'm just so happy. And this is the first one. My next step is building my real estate portfolio. So there will be many more purchases in the near future, manifesting that and speaking into existence.
Yes, girl. But also, like, just being able to have your home, and especially the fact that you moved away from your family and you're in a new city, and you've created a home for yourself. I think that's really important, and that's going to look different to everybody. But if you have found your own definition of that and have created that for yourself, like, again,
Yeah.
bravo.
And it's just on from here, like this is the start, and you prove to yourself that you can do it. If you're disciplined, if you work hard, if you stay aligned on your goals, like you said, whatever, it's not one size fits all, whatever is your goal, figuring out the steps that you can take every single day to get there. That's the key to it all. And whatever anybody listening to this, whatever your goal is, you can do that. Sit down, map it out, make those actionable steps you can take each and every day, and whatever dream you have can be yours.
Wow, couldn't have said it better. And this is exactly why I think this podcast is such an amazing new platform that we've added to KW NextGen, because it's like, don't hear from me, don't hear it
Yeah,
from our emails, like hear it from one of your peers like Kennedy, who you're really
absolutely.
like, you're walking your talk, and it's really awesome. So nothing to add, no notes there. So with that said, you have had a chance to be involved with KW NextGen and different parts of it and be introduced to it. In your own words, like, what is KW NextGen and how are you involved?
So, KW NextGen, how I am involved, I was honored to be a leader at the QL Summit in person in Austin, Texas, in June of 2025, whenever this podcast gets released. And that was the coolest experience, being a part in the room with so many like-minded individuals. I think my goal is always, I want to be, and I don't want to be the smartest person in any room that I'm in, because that means I'm in the wrong room. But I also, when you're in that space, it makes you want to work even harder, because when you're seeing the people around you do it, and do it at younger ages, at the same age, maybe not far from you, then it gives you the encouragement that you can do it. And KW NextGen is just amazing because it helps build young people and grow them into being whatever they want to be, living your life by design, not by default. You can choose whatever life you want, and you can attain that. And KW NextGen equips young folks, so the next generation of entrepreneurs, leaders, business people, to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't even pay you to say that, and you are a fantastic spokeswoman. Yeah, and what's really neat, just backing up a little bit, is the fact that you were recommended as a QL leader by the leaders in your area. And that's just a testament to the fact that you show up each day in a big way, and that the people that work with you day in and day out think highly of you. I mean, I got the chance to be introduced to you through reading your application, being really impressed, and also just seeing a lot of similarities. Like, I oftentimes jokingly refer to myself as the KW NextGen big sister, but like,
I love that.
read your application, I was like, I really could like be her big sister. Like, we have a very similar background of coming
Yeah.
from a town, and just moving away at a young age and making a life for ourselves at a young age, and just getting to see that in another young woman like yourself is just so exciting
Yeah.
and great. And so for anyone that's listening that's like a little lost in like what we're talking about, QL Summit is our flagship event. It's our largest event. There are events that go on all over the country, quantum leaps that are put on by instructors all over the country all year long. But QL Summit is the one time of year that Gary Keller teaches it to young adults. And He is the creator of Quantum Leap. He is the founder of Keller Williams. And young people like yourself, Kennedy, get to travel into Austin and be in a room of about 200 other people that have made their way for a few different reasons. They may be young leaders like yourself that have chosen to be in the room, that happen to work in the real estate industry. However, there's other people in the room that their aunt, uncle, neighbor works in real estate, and they happen to say, hey, this is a really good life conference, and you get to be around other young people that are really ambitious. Go. And they say, absolutely, let's be there. And then there's other young people that are sent to QL Summit that have no idea what they've gotten themselves into. Somebody has sent them to this 3-day event and they really don't know like why they're there or if they have to be there, or so on and so forth. And what the magic is, though, is that no matter how someone gets into the room, whether it's full QL Summit or one of our other events around the country, no matter how you stumble into the room, you all as young people really interact with each other in a special way and create an atmosphere of growth and acceptance and understanding and inspiration that even the one that like has the most resistance to walking into the room usually still gets a lot out of it because of what you all like feed off of each other or create that really cool synergy. So it was just so fun to have you in Austin this past year, for you to fully experience it. And again, yeah, to be a peer leader, to be able to interact with your peers in such a big way. I think it's important. You said something of like seeing other people your age or even a couple years older, or sometimes a few years younger, right?
Yeah.
Like you inspire me, and I hope I inspire someone that's 20 years older than me, kind of thing. Like it doesn't matter on age, but you all have that opportunity to be like, I thought I would have to wait till this age to be that, but there's someone right next to me that did it already and they're only 6 months older than me or something like that. And to see the possibility.
Absolutely. Yep. I think attending the QL Summit in person, because I had taken it virtually. So we'd done a watch party for my first year being involved, and it was amazing then, but being in that room and having Gary Keller standing about, I'd say 4 feet away from me and speaking to me, because I think I had given aha or asked a question. It was just incredible. And like you said, I think a lot of us have these clocks, these like biological clocks that say I should have achieved this by this age. I will never be a homeowner until this age, until I reach maybe getting a spouse or whatever it is. And seeing so many other people achieve these things, it makes you go, okay, never mind. I'm going to go home and I'm going to do just that. And I attribute going to the QL Summit as one of the things that helped me believe that I could, because it all starts with removing your limiting beliefs. And that's the biggest part about anything. And especially being a young person in a professional environment with the actual adults. Like I'm like the junior adult, right? And I feel like that in my early 20s. I go to Brian when I need a premium adult, my operating principal broker. And so when I need something from them. So I think a lot of us think that like I'm the youngest one in the room, and really that's your superpower. Like that really is. And starting as a realtor, being in my young 20s, I've had so many people speak down to me on that and formed those limiting beliefs in my head and how I viewed myself, especially as a professional. This attending the QL Summit starts with those limiting beliefs and breaking through those. And then it's just, you can go anywhere you want to from there.
Oh, that's so good. And a lot of times, yeah, those limiting beliefs, actually what you said was very wise, that sometimes they are put on us by other people. I think sometimes at a young age, we think we can take on the world, and then you have a conversation with someone that's older than you and they question you, and then you start doubting yourself. And that's tough. That's really tough as a young professional. Okay, this person does have 20 years more experience than me. Or in my early 20s, I was in front of rooms that they had been working longer than I had been alive. And I was them things, and it was definitely that imposter syndrome sometimes. But what you said is like being young is also your superpower too. You definitely bring more to the table, and you get to get out of your own way. You can be like, all right, if someone else doubted me, I don't have to doubt myself too. Like that just compounds the negativity. Instead, be like, oh, you thought I couldn't do something? Bet.
Exactly. That's my exact mindset about that stuff, is just watch me. You can watch me. Yeah. You can have those beliefs, but do not keep them over there,
Yeah. Keep them to yourself.
Exactly.
But what are some of the models, systems, tactics, the things that you learn in Quantum Leap that you have plugged into your life that you find helpful?
Absolutely. I think first, one of the biggest things was one of the last things that Gary talked about when I was in person in Austin was about finances and about where you invest your money and the options to do so. I thought that was fascinating because, newsflash, they don't teach you this stuff in school. They don't teach you about investing. They don't teach you about owning a real estate portfolio. They don't teach you about any of that. And so it was so cool watching him tell us we can do it, and then giving us the tools and advice from somebody who's had success in that space, and then passing that along to us. And then I think the second one is the 6 personal perspectives are something that I live by every single day. And my favorite one is committing to self mastery. I think that one just really resonates with me. I think always committing to get 1% better every single day, even if we all have things going on in our lives. And sometimes you just look on social media and you get this cloud over you of seeing all these things happen. But I think if you commit to that and just continue to commit to be a better person, if everybody in the world did that, I don't know if we'd have as many issues as we have in the world right now. But that was the biggest thing is the 6 personal perspectives and committing to being 1% better every single day in everything that I do.
That's amazing. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more of like, if everyone committed to just being a better person each day and, everybody's doing the best they can in a lot of situations. I do think that a lot of the Quantum Leap material helps us remind ourselves of like the responsibility we have in the world, the impact we can have in the world. And the part that you spoke about, the financial part, I do think some schools are getting better at plugging it in. I know when I went to school, it was calculus and and just like geometry and stuff and like math that I've never used. But when it came to like investing or making sure that my finances were balanced and everything, like I didn't learn any of that. And so I had to learn the hard way as I got into my 20s and then 30s and was like, wow, this would have been really helpful to know. And I had heard at one point someone say that money is the language of adulthood. And if you do not know it, you're illiterate.
Wow.
I mean, I had already had a whole business of my own, and I then learned Quantum Leap and got involved with Keller Williams and realized how much I didn't know and realized how much I was missing out on, and how much, like, if I learned the language of money, even on like a basic level, how much it would have been really helpful. And when you're young, to learn that at a young age, you also have time on your side. You can implement all of the good skills and tactics and everything when it comes to finance so that then it compounds over time.
Exactly. Yep. I think one of the biggest things is a lot of people my age, and I want to be very clear that like you said, there are many different circumstances. I also think the economy and the day and age that we live in now is very different than 30, 40, 50 years ago when our parents were doing it. But I think that, starting from here and going up, instead of starting down here in like a massive amount of debt, I don't think they teach us, because debt is one of the biggest money makers out there. Everybody's selling it. The car dealerships, the credit card companies, they spend a ton of money on getting you into debt. And if you learned about that and were educated enough to make those decisions to maybe not purchase this or not take out a loan on this, I think you're now starting, at an even playing field instead of already behind the curve down here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a good point. And I think it is important to touch on the fact that like the world is a different place than it was 40 years ago. Like, especially like when Gary teaches it, he talks about starting his career 40 years ago, and the world is a very different place. However, like he didn't come from money either.
Exactly.
And he drove cars longer than other people said he should because it was paid off. And when he's in the room and he's talking to you all as young people, that's some of the biggest questions that come up is like, wait, but I am being fed that I need to have credit cards or I need to have car loans, or like, how am I going to go to school without student loans? And he really just stands firm in the fact that like anything that you can pay off or pay outright without taking on those loans and that debt, really try to do so or stand firm in that. And that is not the popular narrative out there in the world. I think that it's much more of like, keep up with the Joneses, like you said, put it on a credit card or buy the nicer car, lease the car, rent the place, live beyond your means to appear to be doing well, instead of having the confidence of saying, okay, I'm going to drive this car when it's a little bit older, but it's paid off.
or I'm going to
Exactly.
live in a place that maybe I have a roommate, or maybe I buy a place and I house hack it. I think your generation has learned from those that have come before it and learned the hard way what debt can do to a person. And you all are getting much smarter about that. And I think what's cool is like, it's cool to not be in debt in your
It
generation.
is. It is cool to not be in debt because what it can do to you, especially like when you are in debt, that cloud that's just over you at all times, you wake up and that pit in your stomach immediately hits and you just remember the situation that you're in. And now again, you're not even starting from zero, you're starting from negative territory. And that is hard to crawl out of. It's totally possible and you can absolutely do it. I did it, and you just have to figure out the steps that you're going to take. And a great role model that I had, I was very blessed, am very blessed to have the best dad in the world. And so he came from nothing, and he looked at his childhood and was like, I don't want that. And so I'm going to do the exact opposite when I start my own family. And he did just that. And so he always told us, if you do not tell your money what it's going to do or where it's going to go, it'll tell you, it'll control you. And so making sure to have a budget and sticking, kind of how it's a similar principle of how we talk about time blocking. If it's not on your calendar, then it doesn't exist. If you erase it, you have to replace it. And same concept. If you do not tell your schedule what to do, it'll boss you around. Same thing with your money.
Yeah, that is so true. My goodness, you need to just teach a class. I need to just hush, and you just need to reach on, girl. So anyone that's listening has probably started to get a sense of what an incredible human being you are, and I genuinely mean that. And really, like, you are very focused on who you are. You're very clear about who you are. You show up in a very big way. We have a part of Quantum Leap that is the mission statement. And a lot of times that is like a one sentence of like who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to share anything about your mission statement, and like, does it help fuel this like strong presence that you get to show up as each day?
100%. I think that's the first step to really anything, is figuring out who you are and that relationship with yourself. I mean, newsflash, you're going to live until the end of your life with yourself. So you better start to like him, her, whatever. You better start to like yourself and be okay with the person you are. And again, if you're working to get 1% better, then you will start to really adore the person that you are. So my mission statement, the mission for Kennedy Young's life, is I seek to be a vessel of hope, healing, and transformation by sharing God's love through compassion, love, and deep understanding of every life experience. And that is in the just DNA of who I am and who I want to be seen as, the legacy I want to leave behind. I think that's important because authenticity is the most important thing. I am also very blessed to have two leaders in my life, Brian and Heather Wentz. Heather Wentz is a senior MAPS coach. So she coaches agents in Keller Williams and helps them grow their business. And she had taught me that authenticity comes across, I think it was like, and don't quote me on this, like 70 times more genuine than the emotion of love. And you would think love is the strongest emotion and feeling out there, but it's actually authenticity. And when you meet somebody and you feel that they are authentic and that they want to help you, and that they're a good person and they want that, then I think that is what comes across, and people feel that so much more. And so that is what I tried my best to do with my mission statement. And of course, you date your mission statement. You're always tweaking it because we always evolve as people. But right now, that's what speaks to me the most at this point in my life.
Absolutely. And being able to put that down on paper, it's when you read it off, and I have had a chance to kind of get to know you some and just be like, that is who she is. That is how you show up. And that is the perception that others get to have of you. And so I think that when you write something down as a mission statement that is in the fabric of who you are, then you also hold yourself accountable to like be that person, and you believe
Exactly.
in yourself that you are that person. And that authenticity piece is so important that I don't think any of us need to hold ourselves to like a perfect standard or an unrealistic standard. However, just a real standard of like, this is authentic to me to be these things. And you mentioned Brian and Heather Wentz as well. Brian is a longtime board member of KW NextGen, and has really, really just donated so much of his time and resources to our organization as a coach, as an instructor, as a a leader. He really helps us guide our team and our organization in a big way. And then Heather is basically like an honorary board member.
Yeah.
She is at so many of our events and has also coached for us. And they are just such a wonderful, wonderful couple. We're blessed to have them. And I'm glad that you get to learn from them, and they speak so highly of you as well.
Everything you see here, when I moved down here, I started under Brian. I got to meet him and Heather, and I'm a product of their consistent coaching, mentoring. I saw one of the questions that you'd sent over was, have you been through the QL coaching? And it's like, I get a QL coach. He's actually in that room right there. I get him every single day. And that's just like, you couldn't ask for a better situation on that.
Yeah. And I think that's actually a great point, that KW NextGen as a nonprofit has these different resources for different people and different needs, but not all of them are needed for everybody, right? So I think any of us could benefit from taking a Quantum Leap class, whether ideally you're in 18 to 29 in our age range, but you don't have to be. We do have instructors that teach it to high schoolers to start planting those seeds at an even younger age, which is fantastic. The first time I took Quantum Leap, I was just over 30. And so I still benefited from it. We have people that take it in their 50s and 60s that benefit from it. So taking a Quantum Leap, I think, is pretty universal and pretty helpful. Yeah. And I think that anyone that is thriving in their career or completely like not having any idea where to start in their life and their career, Quantum Leap can be beneficial. And then what's really great is that we do have coaching and scholarships as optional additions to that, but it's not needed for everybody. Like if you are someone like yourself that is already working with someone that you feel like really mentors you and coaches you, there are other young adults that have that built in other parts of their life or their career, whether they're in real estate, whether they're in another area, like they may already have someone that they really feel like is guiding them in a way that is helpful, then maybe coaching isn't necessary. Like definitely just like stay with the person that's guiding you in the direction that you want to go. And if you already have that, then great. You don't need to apply for coaching. But if you don't have that, or you think you can benefit from that, then it's offered and it's free and it's 3 months of coaching that you may not otherwise have. Or, someone like Heather, that there are like, her resources are so sought after for Brian too, their knowledge, their wisdom, their business experience, like just so much that they have to offer. Like they are sought out as coaches that people pay them to coach them. And the fact that they're willing to donate their time is just huge. And so if that is a path that is helpful for anyone that's listening to this, then take the coaching path. But if you're someone like Kennedy that's like, I've got it built in right here, maybe you don't need it.
Yeah. The message is everybody should have a coach. Everybody should have an accountability partner. But especially because, again, I don't want to ever be the smartest one in the room or the most successful one in the room. And I have him to look up to of one day I want my net worth to be there. One day I want to be a business owner and have as much success as he's had in his life and changed as many lives as they both have. And that is such an inspiration, because if I achieve half of what he has and what they have together, then I'd be pretty okay with my life and everything that I've accomplished. So it's an honor to have them as role models. But the message is, if you don't have a good role model or coach in your life, then you should. And this is an opportunity for those that don't have these mentors, because I'm very lucky and blessed. Not everybody does. I've got great parents. I have great coworkers and people I've met through K, but not everybody has that. And so this is a beautiful opportunity. I'm so glad that KW NextGen does the coaching, because it's invaluable to you as a person and you in your professional, whatever path you want to go on.
Yeah, that's so true. And I mean, we're lucky to be in Keller Williams, who like really prioritizes that coaching mentorship mentality. But if it's someone that is in a totally different field, or just going into college or just graduating high school and not even sure if like college is your path, a coach can help you figure stuff out. Just figure stuff out, and then set those goals that are maybe even bigger than you're willing to set for yourself, but then help you actually attain them. So it's that accountability piece, it's that mentorship piece, and it's them setting the example that you see what's possible. Because I think a lot of us possibly have grown up in certain environments, and it's not until we see someone else do something that you're like, that's even a possibility. Like, whoa, how cool. And then they show you how to make it happen, which is really, really neat. So I love all that. sharing that. And yeah, just the coaching piece is so important, however it happens to come into your life.
Exactly.
If somebody is, say it's your friend or someone that's like not affiliated with Keller Williams at all, no idea who Gary Keller is or anything like that. They're just listening to this because they're like, hey, Kennedy's my friend. Let's see what she's into. What would you say to them if they were interested in possibly attending a QL event or then potentially partaking in the coaching and scholarships as well?
You 100% should. There's no question about it. There is a seat in that room for every single person, any walk of life, any career path. I think that was a really cool thing is at first, yes, it is a Keller Williams attachment, but it's also for people that real estate is not their profession or something they want to do. I was standing alongside of other leaders who were authors and who published books and who had served our country and were in the corporate space. I met one, she was an accountant. There's so many people in so many different walks of life, but I think that is what is beautiful about it is you're meeting other like-minded, because we can all say, especially if you're in your early 20s, everybody my age is in such a different place in their life. We still have some people, maybe they're going to get their master's. We have some people that are still living in their parents' basements at my age and they may not be employed. They have some people that, starting a family and they're a wife and a mother or whatever that is. And I think that's the cool thing is that you come together because you have one common goal, and that is to, again, 1% better every single day. So it helps break through those limiting beliefs and give you a path to go on so that you can actually map out, where do I want to be? Where do I want to get to? And how exactly do I attain that? And setting out a GPS. I mean, if when I moved down here 2 years ago and I trying to get to my local Walmart, I have no idea where I'm going, right? So I pull out this thing right here and I have my GPS, take a right, take a left, U-turn, you're going the wrong way. And we need that in our lives. We need a GPS of telling us how to achieve our goals. And then the accountability portion as well. That's where you can find your people, because again, other people may not see things like somebody like me or somebody like you, Kaitlyn. We see the world very differently and we want so much out of life. I will not be satisfied with my life until I get the most out of every area of my life, in my traveling, in my relationships, in my profession, everything like that. And so this is where to do that. And if you don't know where to start at Quantum Leap. Start in that room. That's the best place for you to find what is important to you, find your mission, identify what that is, and then put together a plan and how to get there.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So much wisdom in everything that you just said. And I do think it's really something to touch on the fact that people in their 20s are in very different stages of their lives. Very, very different.
Very.
And no place is right or wrong. And I think that from my own experience in my 20s, even when I was doing something that I loved to do, it was very easy to play the comparison game. It was very easy to be like, and I noticed other people doing it with me too, right? Like one person was further along in their career, but they looked to me and they were like, you're traveling everywhere. Or one person had a baby at home and I was like, oh my goodness, you've already started your family. That's so exciting. And to them, they're like, oh, I want the freedom of not, so it's a comparison. And I think it definitely, that continues on throughout your life, but it's really evident in your 20s into your early 30s when everyone is in like such different stages. And I think it's really important to remind all of ourselves that it's like, nothing is right or wrong. There is no shame. If you are someone that is just making it through the day, you're working a part-time job, or you've lost your job or haven't been able to find one, that is okay.
Yeah.
You have to figure it somewhere. If life has given you some tougher cards to play and you don't seem to feel like you have the resources to get your head above water, that's okay. You don't have to be there forever. And in the other side of that if you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm absolutely like killing it at life and I'm like doing so much, sometimes that can be really scary at a young age too, because you're just like, you don't want to lose it, or you feel like you have to stay, like keep
the momentum.
Yeah. Or whatever. You have to like keep up that momentum. Absolutely. Well said. And so I think it's just great that you touched on that whoever you are, you're welcome in a Quantum Leap room. Whoever you are, you're welcome to apply for coaching and the scholarships if that's a need and a resource for you. I think we have had young adults, and we continue to have young adults that come from every single walk of life. We have people in different countries that come from different backgrounds. We have people that have aged out of the foster care system that maybe had some cards stacked against them, but they are making huge impact in their world. And then we have some people that are children of top producing agents and leaders of Keller Williams and beyond, really successful parents that have been teaching them all these great things since they were very young. No matter what, I have found that each person still gets something new and different and beneficial from a Quantum Leap room, and they still grow as their own individual human being, which is such a beautiful thing to get to witness.
Exactly. And like you said earlier, we've had people that have taken QL that were in their 40s and 50s, and it's never too late to start over. It's never too late to say, I don't like the life I'm living, so I'm going to go make a different one. You can absolutely do that. And so it's not about your age. It's not about your background. It's not about any of that. And acknowledging that, yes, people have different struggles, but I guarantee you, you will find somebody that has been through something similar like that you have and have achieve that success, even still going through that and how they got through that. And that's what it's about. It's about that community, so that you can find somebody that you relate to that has that similar life experience. And that's why we sometimes go through things in life, I think, to help others. And so being a living testament of that is that you can overcome that and you can still have the life that you want regardless of blank.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there any specific struggle or challenge that you can think of that QL has helped you overcome?
100%. Going back earlier, we talked about limiting beliefs on your age, especially because, people have said certain things like, I'm a very petite and loud 25-year-old. And a lot of people might say things about my looks or about, the way I present myself or whatever that is. And it's definitely a bias thing where they just immediately look at you and have some sort of preconceived notion about just because of your hair color or your eye color or whatever it is that you're a certain way. And I have continuously had to crawl out of that pit. One of my stories was when I was a realtor, I had been in the real estate space when I got my license. I had been in the real estate space for, I would say, almost 2 years at that point. And so I had more experience than most because I got into this industry at 19 years old. And so crazy to think about. And stayed in it since. And so one of the things when I got my license is I was actually on a showing, and it was this younger girl. She was only a year older than me. She was looking to buy her first home. And we went to go see this home, and she was having a family friend meet them there. He was a contractor. They were wanting to make some remodel or remodel it, make some repairs and stuff. And so they wanted to see what would be possible. And so of course he was about an hour late, and I'm sitting there, and the house did not have any heating. It was so freezing. I'm sitting there shivering in my coat as they're waiting on him. And I'll never forget, he got into the home and didn't apologize for being late. He just looked at me and goes, "You're the realtor?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I am." And immediately, "I'm Kennedy Young. Nice to meet you." And he goes, "You don't even look old enough to hold a license. Are you sure you're 18? And me as a 21 or 22-year-old woman at this time, I was like, yeah, haha, try to laugh it off because you never want to seem like you're the one making the situation uncomfortable. And so I'm just focused on, I want to help this girl and maybe sell this house. And so basically throughout the showing, he started quizzing me. He would turn to me. And when she would ask him a question about something, mind you, as a realtor, you're not expected to know everything. That's why you have your team. I don't have to know everything about loans because I have my team of loan officers that are the experts on that. I don't need to know everything about the appraisal because we have appraisers that can communicate that to us and our clients. And so he's a contractor. That's his cup of tea, and that is where he is a professional. And so as she's asking him questions, he's turning to me and quizzing me on this stuff. And how mortifying is that, especially if you don't know a question? That's your biggest fear as a new agent, that you're going to be asked something that you don't know the answer to. And unfortunately, whether it was because of me as a realtor or whatever, I did go home and I cried over that because it was so demeaning. I felt this big, but they did put an offer in on one of the homes that we went to go see, not that one, and they used another realtor. So they did not use me. And who knows what the reasoning was? I have my guess, but that was really defeating, especially as a new realtor when you are foaming at the mouth for any sort of income and deal, and want to hit the ground running as a high achiever like me. That was my biggest limiting belief, was my age. And then when I stepped into the recruiting side of it, how on earth is any 50, 60-year-old grown man that's been a realtor longer than I've been alive believe that I can actually help them? Whoever it is, how can they believe that me, as again, looking maybe even younger than I look, because I get that all the time. You look like you're 18. Are you even old enough to drink? And so they always think I'm at least in my early 20s, and how can this little girl help me? And so that was the biggest thing, is not just fighting unseen battle, but it literally was meeting other realtors, meeting, I mean, there were certain times that when another realtor on the other side of a deal would find out that I was a new agent and I was younger, they would completely flip in how they treated me, how responsive they were. When they find out they can take advantage, unfortunately, a lot of people will. And so I made that my mission, that you guys are going to regret that. And so I made it my mission to know every single thing that I could. And Quantum Leap helped me with that, being in that room and seeing that that is our superpower, is our age. And is not something that is demeaning to us or makes us any less than. And that was the first time where I truly felt like I belong here. Like, this is so cool. And watching everybody else do it, oh, I 100% can do it. And those people don't know what they're talking about. And they're just mad that 21-year-old girls coming in here and selling more houses than them. And so that was the biggest thing for me. And at 100%, those limiting beliefs absolutely keep you down. It kept me from going up to somebody and trying to get business, or letting them know that I was in the real estate space. Quantum Leap was absolutely the breakthrough of that, and the coaching and mentorship of Brian and Heather, letting me know that that does not have to be my story, and why would you want it to be? And so they equipped me and gave me the confidence and knowing my stuff and investing in me. And now, like you said, I feel like that is one of my strong suits, is a strong sense of self, because I focused on that. That was the first piece to everything beautiful that's happened in my life since.
Kennedy, I am just so glad you shared that story, first of all, because that's also a vulnerable story to share and to admit to a limiting belief or to an insecurity, that each and every one of us have our own version of that. And so I think it's just so helpful for anyone that's listening to say, like, hey, I have my own version of that. Maybe it's similar to you, that they think they're too young or too blonde, or, because you've shared it with me, but joke's on all of us, that just morphs into something different, because then eventually it's like, oh, I can have a limiting belief on my age, what I look like, my ethnicity, my financial status, my education level, my family, where I come from. You could really have a limiting belief and let something hold you back. Just insert a million different options. No matter who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter where you come from, if you decide to let something hold you back, there will be plenty of things that can do that. And you also said, there are people that will take advantage of that if they have the chance. And, a lot of times that's also a reflection on someone else's insecurity or something. Like, someone that's been in the business 20 years doesn't want to be showed up by a new agent.
Exactly.
In the same way, an older person doesn't want to feel insecure in their own way because somebody younger than them, or whatever.
Exactly. Yep.
Under different backgrounds, whatever the case may be, it's usually a case of their own insecurity being threatened. And so just recognizing, all of us as humans, that we get to decide if we internalize that or not. That's on them, of what they're going through. We do not have control over other people, but we do get to choose whether other people's perceived doubts of us are our own doubts or not.
Exactly.
And the best that we can do, people are going to doubt us. That's just the world, that's just life. But it's only going to make things worse if we start doubting ourselves too. Like, then we don't even have someone on our own team.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I said earlier, if I don't like who I am, or if I'm not okay with me, then that's a hard life, because you have to live the rest of your life with yourself. And so why continue to put that in, that you're not worthy, that you're not capable, any of that stuff? I think that is the worst thing that you could do, because one of our bold laws, your cells eavesdrop on your thoughts. And that is so true. I can't even fathom all the Keller Williams, like bold and QL. is absolutely incredible and has 100% shaped me into the person that I am today. And I would not be here without it, obviously. But that was the biggest thing, is your cells eavesdrop on your thoughts. And so if you look in the mirror every morning and you say, I'm ugly, I'm worthless, and I'm not capable of achieving the life that I want, you will start to believe that, and your actions will start to show that. And so even if you don't believe it right now, you better tell yourself, listen to me, you better tell yourself that you're beautiful, you're worthy, and you are a beautiful creation, and you are meant to be on this earth for a reason. And if you're still here for a reason. So figure out what that is, pursue it, and just learn to love who you are. As difficult as it is, we all have our insecurities. We all have our things that we would change about ourselves. But that's not the point. We're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on the stuff over here about everything we have accomplished and what we can achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. And everything starts with our own thoughts. And the more that we are able to tell ourselves those positive things, and I'm not talking like toxic positivity that's not true. So make it authentic. What you said before, really believing you're capable. Or you also said something about like putting in the hard work so that you knew the answers to the questions, right? It's not just about like faking your way all the time. Sometimes you have to fake it till you make it, but you're also putting in the time, the effort, the energy to be as qualified in the areas that you want to be as possible. You're doing the time to make sure that your thoughts are actually like true to yourself, of like, this is who I am and this is who I want to be. And you become that person because of that. So all of that is just so great to hear, and wise beyond your years for sure. And so
thank you
for sharing that as well. I think anybody at any age that is listening to this is like, that's a good reminder that we all have our doubts, and we just might as well get out of the way of those own doubts, because then it turns into almost like a game of like, what am I capable of? If I change my thoughts and I ignore what I think other people might doubt me about, what is actually my true potential, which is like really cool to start exploring.
And take that first step. Prove it to yourself. If it's on this small of a scale, it's a tiny scale, take that first step and then keep building on that. And once you start proving to yourself, okay, I did just pay off a small amount of debt. Okay, then I paid off my car. And then now I just bought a house. It's like, wow, take that first step. You'll literally never get to the top of the ladder unless you climb up the first rung. You will never get there. It's baby steps that get you there, and everybody else in your circle, all the people there that are encouraging you and influencing you, and also your choices. Hudson Warren, our bold coach, he just said, you are born looking like your parents and you will die looking like your choices. And that hit me right here. I wrote that. That was a write down. That was a text to a couple people. And truly, that is a huge reminder. And so make the choice to go in the right direction and take one little baby step. And I promise you, the rest will become so much easier once you see that you are getting the results that you want.
Wow. Yeah, I'm going to have to write that down too.
I'll text it to you.
That's a mic drop right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So if anybody is listening or watching this or knows you, Kennedy, I think that there would be no question in their mind of why they would want to like support the young people of KW NextGen. I mean, I think you're such a gem, and your peers, your other QL Summit leaders that I've had a chance to work with and everything, like, to me, it's like no questions asked, like, give me, take my money, take my time, like you all are all worth it. However, if somebody is listening to this and is still on the fence about becoming a donor or getting involved as an instructor or maybe a coach, what would you tell someone that's older than you of like, why should they care about your generation? Why should they help you all out?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I would hope that I wouldn't have to tell people why they should care, because it's like, I think as humans, we should all care about the people that are the way we're going to leave the world, but then also how it's going to get left to the people that are younger than us. And the next generation is the next generation of presidents and politicians and leaders and business owners and teachers. And they're going to be shaping the minds. And right now we are blessed. It's an honor that we get to shape the minds of those that are younger than us. And I think one of the biggest things is, excuse me, I want to help others not make some of the same mistakes that I did. Because I'll tell you what, it's kind of like the MREA, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, which is like known as the KW Bible for real estate. This is what to do. And you're learning from a lot of top producers' mistakes and things that they didn't do right. And hey, you don't need to make the mistake. I did. Learn from me, because there are mistakes that you can make. And a lot of those mistakes, yes, you can grow from those and move past those. But they still leave scars. They leave scars on you as a person, on your heart. And those memories, that trauma, that those scars sometimes can't go away. I want to help other young people not make those same mistakes, because I know the feeling of making them. And so if I can help just one person, I think we all should. And also, just for the sake, of course, I hear so many people nowadays talking about there needs to be change. There needs to be the world, evolving, the economy, the, social media. I hear it so much. And then you ask them, great, what have you done today or in the past year to obtain that? How have you been a part of that change? Because you keep telling somebody to change, but then that's also you not changing. And you have to point that finger back at yourself and realize that you're not changing. So yes, you can talk about this, and don't hear my heart on this. This can do a lot. Yapping and speaking out about things is important, and advocating for things, but so is money. I mean, money makes the world go round, and that is what helps us reach more people. That is what helps us and get more exposure, to get more people in that room so that they can avoid making that mistake. And so I think that's the thing. If anybody above us, I challenge them, older than us, wants to say anything about this young generation, first and foremost, I've been in a room with these Gen Z millennials. They are incredible. And I think we are in great hands. We are absolutely in great hands. But if you want to be a part of that and be able to leave a legacy that lives on way longer than you, that's KW NextGen. And that's the work that they're doing. And if I get to be a small piece of that and help somebody achieve their life by design, or help somebody else that maybe didn't think there was any other path in life, that they were just stuck in neutral on this one path and there was nothing more for them, then I can leave this earth happy. And so we want to think about that. Put your money where your mouth is, literally. And I hear so much of this, but not enough of giving your resources and your assets to help the things that you say you're passionate about.
Wow. So good. So good, Kennedy. And I feel like you have every right to say all those things, because you, as a young person, you're not just trying to ride on someone else's coattails. You're not looking for a handout or anything. You too are taking the ownership that you can influence those that are coming after you, that you're going to do the responsible thing so that you can make a good impact and you can create the life that you want to live. And so holding everyone else up to that standard too is totally fair, because you're I am doing it. I'm practicing what I preach. And it's totally fair to ask that of others and to hold them accountable to it too. And I think what's so great is holding each other accountable for doing more good in the world. I think that's an okay thing for us all to ask of each other.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
So, oh my goodness, Kennedy, this has been such a joy to talk with you. I could just gab with you all day long.
Yeah.
I am just a beaming, proud. Like I said, I have a wonderful big sister, so I never got to be the older sibling, and KW has given me the opportunity of feeling like someone who's just younger than me is just doing these really cool things in the world, and being so proud of who you are as humans and excited to see all that you do in your career and in your life. It's just such a joy to witness. So thank you for taking your time. I know you are a busy, busy gal. And so this is very sought after time. So thank you so much for doing this interview. And all the things that we talked about today can be found on KWNextGen.org. But use Kennedy as an example of all that is capable at such a young age, and to never let your age define who you are, or let it define you, and know that the world is your oyster, and it is your superpower, as you said.
Yeah. Yep. Your choices. That's the message here. Thank you, Kaitlyn. I so appreciate you thinking of me to do this. So honored to give any of my time, expertise, or experiences to anybody. So if anybody ever wants to reach out to me to have a conversation, to connect, or just network, I'm always down to network. You guys know me. So if anybody ever wants to reach out, they're more than welcome to my DMs, my texts, whatever, always.
What's the best way to find you?
Is Ken Young, KenYoungGG, 1_. So 2 G's, 1_. And that's my Instagram. If you guys DM me, let me know where you came from. I get sometimes a lot of randos in my DMs sometimes. So let me know, I heard you on this podcast, and I will absolutely accept that and be happy to talk to you.
Perfect. Wonderful. I know sometimes in the real estate space, it's funny. Our phone numbers and our social medias are just out there for whoever. But if you want to reach out to Kennedy, or of course, you can always reach out to the KW NextGen team or myself included. We'll make sure you get connected and just be able to live these big, amazing lives like Kennedy is at such a young age. So, all right, until next time, thank you so much, Kennedy. It's been such a joy catching up with you.
Thanks, Kaitlyn. Bye, guys.
Thank you so much for joining for this episode of the KW NextGen podcast. We hope that maybe your interest was piqued to attend a class or get more involved. If you're between the ages of 18 and 29, we would love to have you in a Quantum Leap class. So go to our website, kwnextgen.org, and click events. Find maybe an event in person near you or an event online. They're always being added, so check back if you don't see one that fits your schedule. And if you're beyond 30, we would absolutely appreciate you considering being a donor. KW NextGen cannot provide these events, coaching, or scholarships without generous donations like yours. So again, visit our website at kwnextgen.org and click donate. If you become a monthly donor, you get great perks, or a one-time gift is always appreciated of any size. Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you next time. This podcast is for general information purposes only. The views, thoughts, and opinions of the guest represent those of the guest and not KW NextGen and its affiliates, and should not be construed as financial, economic, legal, tax, or other advice. This product is provided without any warranty or guarantee of its accuracy, completeness, timeliness, or results from using the information.